Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
And I'm proud to be an
saying Merry Christmas again, right? And it's great to be back in Missouri, a sign of a lot of good things because you're doing really well. And I want to thank Governor Greitens and Attorney General Hawley, who, by the way, Josh, where's Josh? Josh, our next senator, where is he? He's going to be a great senator. And he wants to see a major tax cut. I think I can speak for him, right? And your current senator does not want to see a tax cut. That's not good. That's not good. He wants your taxes to go up. Secretary Mnuchin, who's doing such a fantastic job. Thank you. And Linda McMahon, everybody knows, administrator, small business, became a big business under Linda. She's helping a lot of people. Thank you very much, Linda. I especially want to thank Missouri's incredible congressional delegation, Sam Graves. Where's Sam? You all here? Yeah. They all flew in with me. They wouldn't miss that flight. Vicky Hartzler. Vicky, thank you. Thank you, Vicky. Billy Long, who I think was my first endorser in the entire country, practically, Billy, right? Thank you, Billy. Blaine Lukemeyer. Blaine. Thank you, Blaine. And he was great on television today. I watched him. I got up early and I watched you on. That was a good interview. Thank you. Very much in favor of tax cuts. Jason Smith and Ann Wagner. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Ann. And you know, I have two others. I have a lot of faith in faith. Sally Faith. Where's Sally? Your mayor. Hi, Sally. Thanks, Sally. And Eric Schmidt, Missouri State Treasurer. Thank you. Thank you, Eric. Doing a great job. Just 3 months ago, we came to this state to launch our plan to bring back Main Street by cutting taxes for American families and small businesses. Today, I've come back to this incredible state to spend an afternoon with its amazing citizens. You are amazing. To help push our plan for historic tax cuts right across that finish line. We're going to do that. With your help, we can usher in a thrilling new era of opportunity and growth for this nation that we love so much. Tax cuts have already passed the House of Representatives. Big ones. Big ones. The eyes of the world now turn to the United States Senate. A successful vote in the Senate this week will bring us one giant step closer to delivering an incredible victory for the American people. Massive tax cuts and reform. I don't even mention the word reform because people don't know exactly what we're talking about. You know, for years, they have not been able to get tax cuts, many, many years since Reagan. And the problem was they talked about tax reform, not tax cuts. I said, don't call it reform, call it tax cuts and reform. So every once in a while, we'll add the name reform. But it's tax cuts. We cannot sit, right? That's the governor agrees. We cannot sit idly by and watch ourselves losing in competition to other countries as they continue to take away our jobs because their tax codes are more competitive and less burdensome than ours. That's why we must cut our taxes, reduce economic burdens, and restore America's competitive edge. We're going to do that, too, and it's already happening. Look what's happening with our markets. People get it. If we do this, then America will win again like never, ever before. A vote to cut taxes is a vote to put America first again. We want to do that. We want to put America first again. It's time to take care of our workers, to protect our communities, and to rebuild our great country. You know, we've spent almost $7 trillion in the Middle East over the last 16 years. $7 trillion. Now I'm taking care of it. We're doing numbers like ISIS has never seen before. We're wiping them out. Terrorists, they're bad. And all of that. But we've spent almost $7 trillion. We could have rebuilt our country 4 times over. And we're going to start spending here. We're going to start spending here. And with that being said, we're going to protect our country, whether it's North Korea or any, but we're going to protect our country like never before. We're going to build up our military and make our product here and make our planes and our boats and our...
Thank you, memes of destruction. I'm smoking a bowl myself.
But we've got to start focusing on our country. That's why I'm saying America first. Make America great again. You've never heard that expression. All those hats, all those beards, they've never heard that expression before. Oh, that was a good expression, and it's a true expression. It's already happening and long ahead of schedule. In fact, today, some numbers came out that people haven't seen in many, many years. This beautiful city of St. Charles is the perfect place to deliver the message that I want to deliver. It's the place where America's past and future come to life on its historic brick-lined Main Street. Nice street. Do you agree? It was along these very streets that in 1804, the great American explorers Lewis and Clark gathered their final supplies before setting out on their very historic expedition of discovery. I have to say, I didn't really know that until 2 days ago. See, now the world is watching. Look at all the fake news back there. They're all watching. Today, more than 2 centuries later, a new generation of American pioneers begins its own adventure, gathering inside the startups and the storefronts of main streets across the country, blazing new trails into totally uncharted territory of business and technology, and once again, leading our nation into a future of limitless potential. It's what we have in this country. We have the greatest people. It's the greatest country. I love this country so much. Our country was not treated properly for a long time. We're treating it properly. We're treating it with love. And with this. We got to treat it with this. And today, just as it's always been, Main Street is the heart of our economy, the soul of our community, and the birthplace of American dreams. But over the years, crippling taxes, massive regulation, and totally disastrous trade deals. Oh, the trade deals. Oh. I get a headache thinking about who made these deals, one after another. WTO, NAFTA, the wonderful deal with South Korea. Remember, they said it's going to produce 200,000 jobs, and it did for South Korea. Didn't produce, we lost 200,000 jobs. It turned some of our businesses' main streets into empty ghost towns. You see what's happened. Now we have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to restore American prosperity and reclaim America's great destiny. We've already made tremendous progress, far greater than I would have thought. I will tell you this in a non-braggadocious way. There has never been a 10-month president that has accomplished what we have accomplished. That I can tell you. That I can tell you. Today, again, the stock market has reached another record all-time high. The unemployment rate nationwide is the lowest it's been in 17 years. And 13 states this year have seen unemployment drop to the lowest levels in the history of their state. And I hate to tell you, but Missouri happens to be one of them. We've created nearly 2 million jobs. 2 million jobs. Think of that. We used to lose millions. Now we've created 2 million jobs since I won the election. And I want to say since you won the election. I didn't win the election. You won the election. And we will create countless more if we can sustain the 3% growth rate we have achieved for the past 2 quarters. But we're going to do much better than that. Remember, I used to say we can hit 4 and we can hit 3, and they were all saying, forget it, forget it. It was 1.2. It was doing terribly. We were flat. We were even. In all fairness, the stock market was going this way. And now we're hitting numbers that nobody thought possible, certainly not in this time. And the numbers going up are going to be much better than anybody anticipates. In fact, they're going to say that Trump is the opposite of an exaggerator, the exact opposite. They're going to start saying, Governor, that he ought to be a little bit more optimistic because his predictions were low. Can you believe it? You know, a year and a half ago, they were saying, oh, he can't do that. Now they're saying, that was quick. But by the way, the Commerce Department announced this morning that our GDP, that's the big one, in the 3rd quarter grew even faster than they reported previously. They made a mistake. They were too low. They had it at 3%. By the way, 3%. Did you ever think you'd hear that in less than a year? And now it comes in at 3.3%, which is the largest increase in many years. And if we didn't have the hurricanes, we would have been at 4%. The hurricanes were devastating. And I said they're worth a point. They said they were worth like 0.006. But I said they were worth a point. We would have been at 4%, maybe even over 4%. But we had hurricanes. We took care of them. In Texas and Florida, they did a great, great job, amazing job, tremendous leadership. And we're very proud. Puerto Rico has been a very tough situation because of the fact that it was in very, very bad shape before the storms ever hit. But they're doing well there, and it's healing, and it's getting better, and we're getting them power and all of the things that they have to have. But I want to tell you that a lot of brave people in every state. We have great, great people, and it's our #1 resource, believe me. Really great. But in order to achieve this bright and glowing future, the Senate must pass those tax cuts, bring Main Street roaring back, and that's what's going to happen. This is all done without the tax cuts. And I'm not sure that people even believe the tax cuts. I want to see what happens. And the big day will be either tomorrow or the next day. I would say do it now. We're ready. I said to the Republicans, I don't want to tell you, these are good people. They really want to, and I know they get hit hard, the senators, the congressmen, but they're all working hard. It's not so easy. It's complicated stuff. It's not so easy. But we had an incredible session yesterday. And I think we're there. That's why I said, can we do the vote today? What do I know? I'm a business guy. Can we do the vote now? Well, they said, how about Friday? I said, I don't want to wait till Friday. Right, Billy? I said, Billy, can we do the vote? Get me to vote. Well, Billy's already passed it. So, and then what happens, if it passes, it goes into this beautiful committee, this beautiful, I call it a pot. And we mix it up and we stir it up and we bring all the best things out. And you're going to have something, I predict, that will be really, really special. So right now, really is. Really is. So right now, America's tax code is a total dysfunctional mess. The current system has cost our nation millions of American jobs, trillions and trillions of dollars, and billions of hours wasted on paperwork and compliance. It is riddled with loopholes that let some special interests, including myself, in all fairness, this is going to cost me a fortune, this thing, believe me. Believe this is not good for me. Me, it's not so. I have some very wealthy friends. Not so happy with me, but that's okay. You know, I keep hearing Schumer, this is for the wealthy. Well, if it is, my friends don't know about it. I have to explain why. Now, it is great for companies because companies are going to bring back jobs, and we're lowering the rates very substantially. But right now, we're bringing the rates down from 35%, which is totally non-competitive, the highest industrialized nation in the world by far, and we're bringing it all the way down to 20%. But that's good. That's good for everybody in the room, whether you have a company or whether you want a job, because we're going to bring back jobs. And what we've had is a massive giveaway to foreign countries, which encourage businesses to relocate offshore. And you've seen what's happened. Before this, this is really, I'm most proud, because as bad as our tax code is, we have Toyota, we have big car companies coming back in, building plants in Michigan and other places. We have a lot of businesses coming back in, and they see what's happening. They see what's going on. That's why they're doing. Our current code is a giant, and really it is. It's a self-inflicted economic wound. It's been that way for so many years, and nobody wanted to do anything about it. But all that will change, and it will change immediately if Congress sends a tax cut and reform bill, the biggest tax cut in the history of our country, bigger than Reagan. If they send it to my desk, I promise all of the people in this room, my friends, so many friends in this room, it's a great state. I promise you I will sign it. I promise. I will not veto that bill. There will be no veto. Under the plan moving forward in the Senate, a typical family of four earning $75,000 as an example will see their taxes go down by as much as $2,000. That's a lot. Now, we're doing that not just to help people. We're doing that because it helps our country. You're going to take that $2,000 and maybe you'll save some and you're going to spend some. And we're going to make product back in our country again. You know, it's going to be made here, going to be made elsewhere, but it's going to be made here. We're opening up plants, we're opening up factories, and we're going to be great to small business. Wait till you see the final product. Wait till you see what finally comes out in what I call the mixer. The beating heart of our plan is a tax cut for working families. That's what it is. We're going to make sure that you keep more of your hard-earned money. We're going to make sure also that you have a job that you want. You're going to have choice. You know, in education, we now have choice. Good word. Here, you're going to have a choice. You're not just going to have one job. You're going to have a choice of many jobs. People are moving back into our country. Under our plan, the first $12,000 of income earned by a single individual will be totally income tax free. Zero. And a married couple won't pay one dime of income tax on their first $24,000 of income. Zero. Our plan will significantly increase the child tax credit and make it available to more middle-class families, because the single most important investment our nation can make is in our children. Do we agree? You agree? You better agree. Families will also benefit from a new credit for other dependents, like a child in college or an elderly loved one. We have our mothers, our fathers, you have your grandparents, you have people that are elderly that have done a fantastic job. They've grown old. You want to help them. Now we are going to help you help them. We're also going to eliminate tax breaks and complex loopholes taken advantage of by the wealthy. Who are they? I don't know. I think my accountants are going crazy right now. It's all right. Hey, look, I'm president. I don't care. I don't care anymore. I don't care. Some of my wealthy friends care. Me, I don't care. This is a higher calling. Do we agree? As Hillary said, what difference does it make? It made a difference. It made a big difference. Made a big, big difference. We want a tax code that is simple and fair, and that's for all Americans. The plan that senators will be voting on this week, hopefully as soon as possible, closes the loopholes that corporations use to shift their profits to tax havens. And it eliminates deductions for CEO salaries over $1 million. You see what some of these people are making. A little ridiculous. I'm driving up their stock. They're making a fortune. Then they go to their board and they tell everybody what a great job they're doing. But what am I going to do? And many of them, honestly, I don't like. Oh, some of these bankers, I don't like them, and they're making a fortune. And it's one of those things. Steve knows a couple of them that I'm talking about, doesn't he? They're saying what a great job they do. Right now, anybody could do their job because we're making it easy for them, because we're giving them a great and strong economy, and because we've cut regulations more than any president in the history of this country by far, and that's for full terms. That's not for 10 months. And it allows builders to build, and it allows farmers to farm. You know what I've done for farmers? Where if you had a little puddle in the middle of your field, you go to jail if you touch it, right? You know what I'm talking about. Not anymore. Not anymore. Not anymore. And it allows bankers to lend. It allows bankers to lend again. So many people came up to me and they said, we had a 20-year relationship with the bank. We never had a default. We never had a bad loan. Now we go back to the bank and they say, we can't do business with you anymore because they don't qualify, even though they're better than the people that do qualify. It's incredible, but we're back to the strong days of our banks, and not the days of trouble. Pre that, we're back to the strong, where bankers can make loans and community bankers can make great loans to good people. You saw what happened recently where the certain agency or bureau that was causing so much trouble to lenders where they could not lend. They just couldn't lend. It was devastating. They were going out of business. Well, we're taking care of that. We've already taken care of a big part of it. And yesterday you saw we won the lawsuit. So that's going to be taken care of automatically. Got to get back to business. Our focus is on helping the folks who work in the mailrooms and the machine shops of America, the plumbers, the carpenters, the cops, the teachers, the truck drivers, the pipe fitters, the people that like me best. Actually, the rich people actually don't like me, which is sort of interesting, and that's fine. You know what? I like that trade. But really, the people that like me best are those people, the workers. They're the people I understand the best. Those are the people I grew up with. Those are the people I worked on construction sites with. All of the people who give their best each and every day to take care of their family and the country that they love. These are incredible people. They came out to vote for me. They came out to vote for us. People that worked hard, 2 jobs, 3 jobs, that hadn't voted in many years because they never had anybody they wanted to vote for. And they came out, I'll never forget, in Tennessee, a great congressman told me they had early voting, said, I'll tell you what, we just went through 4 days of early voting. At that time, it was Mr. Trump. Now they say Mr. President. But it was Mr. Trump. He said, and if the other parts of the country are like what's happening in Tennessee, people are coming from all over Tennessee. They haven't voted in years, and now they've got Trump shirts, and they've got Trump hats, and they've got Trump pence, and they've got everything Trump and Trump pence. And he said, I've never seen anything like it, and I've been a politician for a lot of years. And if it's anything like Tennessee, you're going to have one hell of a victory. It turned out to be a lot like Tennessee. So And it turned out to be a lot like Missouri. That I can tell you. Because we had a big one here. And I promised Josh that when he gets it going, and he's got it in very good shape from what I hear, he's a pop. Everybody said, Josh, it's got to be Josh. Everyone's telling me. I said, who's going to run against her? Josh. I said, Josh, when you're ready, you have my word. I'm going to come here and campaign with you. We got to get you in, okay? Got to get you in. It's not enough for the middle class to keep getting by. We want them to start getting way ahead. We're going to have them start getting way ahead. Under our plan, middle-class families will not only see their tax bill go down, they will see their incomes go up by an average of around $4,000. And that's because we're going to cut taxes on American businesses so they will compete for workers. They'll raise salaries. The business is going to be happy, and the workers are going to be happy, and the country is going to be a happy place. Although we're going to have very strong borders. Please remember that, okay? Please remember. We're going to have the wall. Don't worry about it. We're going to have the wall. We don't forget that wall. A lot of people say, now that he got elected, is he going to build the wall? The answer is absolutely. More so. I think more so. It's not easy dealing with the Democrats. They want to have people pour into our country, illegals. They don't care where the hell they come from. They want to have them pour into our country. They want to raise your taxes. They don't want to take care of your military. And all they're good at, frankly, is obstructing. They want to obstruct. But you know what? They may obstruct, but we have gotten through all of the obstruction so far. We'll keep it going, believe me. Today, America has one of the least competitive tax rates on planet Earth. 60%, think of that. 60% higher than the average in the developed world. So our taxes are 60% higher. On my recent trip to Asia, every single one of the countries I visited, even those with communist governments, have slashed its corporate tax rates and slashed them dramatically. And it's very tough competition anyway. But when their taxes are a lot lower, it really makes it very tough. And that trip was a tremendous success. You know, we bought back $250 billion in contracts, and that's going to be over $1 trillion very soon. That's a good week and a half's work. Boeing came back with contracts. So many of our companies came back, and I'm very proud of them, and we're doing great. But at the same time, we're going to fix trade, because trade's unfair. We're getting killed on trade, so we're going to fix our trade, unless anybody would like to continue with this horrible situation that we have. Our plan gets America from the back of the pack, and it'll bring us right to #1, where we were for years, but where we haven't been for decades. We're going to be right back at #1. And we're going to work on trade, but we're also going to work on military. When we defend nations that are very wealthy, and we do it for almost nothing. I say, why are we defending them? We love them. I won't mention names, but there are a lot of them. We love them. They're wealthy. One of them has a cash flow that they say is unsustainable. It's so large. Think of that. How would you like to have an unsustainable cash flow? They don't know what to do with their money. And we defend them. It's going to change, folks. We're going to defend them. But they're going to treat us fairly. And they're going to pay for their defense. Does that make sense? And a lot of this was from many, many years ago when we defended a defeated country, and then they became strong and they became rich, and we just kept the same defense. What happened? Why didn't anybody go in and negotiate? And when I was in Asia, I spoke to a couple of the countries about it, and they looked like this. You know what this is? Mm-hmm. That means they know they're getting away with murder, and they got to start helping us out, okay? So if you don't mind, I'll start bringing that up with some of our good friends. We're going to cut our tax rate to the very competitive number of 20%, as I said, and we're going to create jobs, and factories will be pouring into this country, and they already are starting. A lot of people think it's going to happen. I don't want to say anything. I'm not going to talk about it. I thought we had health care, and we will have health care. It's going to happen. As soon as we get the taxes, we work on the health care, we're going to happen. Because we thought we had the votes, and then something happened a little strange. That's okay. When you lose by one vote, then it's called you go back. You know, some people said, oh, you failed with health care. What do you mean we failed? We didn't fail. And by the way, what happened is Obama took a long time, years, to get Obamacare, right? Again, 10 months. We've had 2 runs at it. We're coming closer, closer. I think now we have a plan that's going to be great, but we're not talking about it until after taxes. And then we take care of healthcare. Then we will have done tax cuts, biggest in history, healthcare, phenomenal healthcare. I know you don't want this. Welfare reform. Does anybody want welfare reform? And infrastructure. But welfare reform, I see it, and I've talked to people. I know people, they work 3 jobs, and they live next to somebody who doesn't work at all. And the person who's not working at all and has no intention of working at all is making more money and doing better than the person that's working his and her ass off. And it's not going to happen. Not going to happen. So we're going to go into welfare reform, unless Billy doesn't want it. Billy, am I okay in saying that I speak for you? He said yes. You got a lot of friends out there, Billy. Well, we'll also cut taxes for the millions of small businesses that file as individuals, and that's going to come out of the hopper. It's getting there, and it's going to be better and better. We're reducing the tax burden on businesses of all sizes and of every single kind. As a candidate, I pledge to fight for American jobs. I think it's possibly the #1 reason I got elected. And I think we've done a lot better at this point than anybody ever even thought possible. Think of that, 2 million jobs since the election. 2 million more jobs in this country since the election. Nobody expected that. Excuse me, I didn't even expect that. But, you know, you cut those regulations and you give people spirit and incentive. And when you have the highest ratings in terms of confidence that the country's had in many, many years, maybe ever, things happen. The tax cut will mean more companies moving to America, staying in America, and hiring American workers right here. So that's so important, right? Small business groups across our nation, retailers, restaurants, manufacturers, grocers, contractors, support this plan. We have tremendous support for this plan. Tremendous, because these massive tax cuts will be rocket fuel. Little rocket man, rocket fuel for the American economy. He is a sick puppy. Cassandra Pourlaire. Where is she? Where's Cassandra? She's around here. Hello, Cassandra. I met you back there. She and her mother, Terry. Hi, Terry. They own a jewelry store on Main Street right here in St. Charles. They make really beautiful handmade jewelry. I got to see some of it. I would have taken it in my previous life, but now if I do, they don't like that. You know? We're not allowed to take jewelry, right? But they make it right here in the heartland. It's beautiful. Our tax plan will ensure that Cassandra can keep growing her business, keep creating jobs, keep giving back to the community that she loves, and just make her more and more successful. I assume you like that, right? Good. Randy Schilling is also here. Where's Randy? Randy. Hello, Randy. He's the founder of OPO. That's an interesting name. It's called OPO Startups, and a member to dozens of small businesses in the St. Charles area. He's a mentor. He really mentors a lot of the businesses, and he's respected. He also did a terrific job renovating the old post office on Main Street, something I know something about, old post offices. Did he do a good job, by the way? I hear. They said, yes, Randy. If he did a bad job, I'm going to stop right now. I'll just say, good luck, Randy. They said you did a good job. I know you did. Randy knows firsthand how the high tax burden is holding America's small businesses back. And our tax cut plan will unleash them to thrive like never before. He understands our plan, which will provide relief from the horrible, crushing, unfair estate tax, also known to many as the death tax. We want to make it easier for loving families to pass on their life's work to their children. Be nice. Be very nice, right? That's a tough one. The Democrats fight that one, I think, harder than any other thing that we're doing. They fight the death tax. They don't want it. They don't like it. They don't want it. It's one of those things. But that is one of the hardest things. I have to be honest. I see people right here. They're obviously very rich and they love their children, right, in this group. They love their children. They're very rich. They want to pass on what they have without having to have the kids sell the property, mortgage up half of it. And but the biggest problem we have on that one, these Democrats are being brutal. And, you know, I call them obstructionists, but they want to stop the estate tax. They want to stop the death tax from, you know, being rescinded. But we're going to try our best on that one. Our economy will receive another enormous boost as trillions of dollars in wealth that's parked overseas will be able to come back to our country. Now, this is one that's interesting because for years, Republicans and Democrats agreed. You have Apple and you have these great companies having billions and billions of dollars overseas. Who doesn't want the money to come back? But to show you the lack of leadership that this country had in the past, the Republicans want it and the Democrats want it, and nothing ever happened. You could have passed that one easy. In fact, we're just throwing it into this bill. I could have had a separate bill on that one. I think, don't you agree, fellas? I could have had a separate bill on that one and gotten it passed in record time. But I figured I'd put it here because it is actually popular. But it used to be $2.5 trillion. You know what that is? Trillion. Money you can't bring back in. It's prohibitive, both in complexity and in the amount of tax you have to pay. So nobody brings back in. $2.5 trillion. But $2.5 trillion, I've been saying for 6 years. I think now it's $4 to $5 trillion. All that money is coming back into the United States, and it's going to be invested in our country instead of sitting and helping others. We want our own help. It's sort of an easy one. Last year, American multinational companies left more than 70% of their foreign profits overseas because the current tax system penalizes them for bringing that money back home. They actually get penalized. Our plan switches to a territorial tax system that encourages companies to return their profits to America, right here to the United States, where that money belongs, going back to work for you. Territorial. If we want America to thrive in the 21st century, then we must stop running from the competition. And instead, we must start totally winning and winning and winning again. Remember when I used to say, we're going to win so much? We're going to win that the people of Missouri are going to go to your governor and they're going to say, Governor, please go see the president. We can't stand winning so much. Remember, I used to say that, right? I used to say it, and that's what's happening. That's what's happening. And then the governor's going to come to that beautiful historic Oval Office. He's going to say to me, Mr. President, the people of Missouri cannot stand all this winning. They don't want to win so much. They love the old way, where they had lousy job numbers, lousy economic numbers, lousy. They loved it. Please, Mr. President, please not. And I'll say, Governor, I don't care what they say in Missouri. We're going to keep winning and winning and winning. And remember? That's right. I used to say that. I had fun with that. But we are winning. We're winning again. We're winning a lot bigger than anyone ever thought possible for such a short period of time. For too long, our tax code has incentivized companies to leave our country in search of lower tax rates. That happens. Many, many companies, they're going to Ireland. They're going all over. They're going all over Asia. But they're stopping because they now want to take advantage of what's happening and what we're about to pass, hopefully. My administration rejects the offshoring model. In other words, let's build a factory in another country. Isn't that wonderful? That really helps us a lot. Fire everybody, and let's build the product, and let's send it in without tax back into the United States. That model doesn't work for me. It never worked, and it shouldn't have worked for any of our other past presidents, believe me. Our new model is the American model. Call it the Trump model, where we build it here. As much as possible, we build it here. Simply put, our tax plan is anti-offshoring and 100% worker, 100% pro-America. Under the American model, we're reducing burdens on our businesses as long as they do business in our country. Okay? They do business here. Now, we love Mexico. It's a wonderful place. But I don't like when our car companies move to Mexico, fire everybody, build the same car in Mexico, send it through our borders with no taxes, no nothing, and we buy the car. Same price. We buy the car. In the meantime, what do we get out of it? We get no tax, and we get unemployment all over. That's stopping. So now the plants are starting to move back. And now there's a price to pay when they do that little number on us. That's how we all succeed and we grow together as one team, one people, as one American family. This week's vote can be the beginning of the next great chapter for the American worker. To summarize, our plan cuts taxes for the working and middle-income families. It nearly doubles the amount of income taxed at the rate of 0. It lowers tax rate. It expands the child tax credit. It provides relief from the estate tax, also known as the death tax. It cuts small business taxes. It reduces the corporate rate from 35% all the way down to 20%. And it provides a one-time low tax rate to return corporate money parked overseas, trillions and trillions of dollars. This is the right plan. This is the right time. We have a moment in time. The Republicans have the Senate. The Republicans have the House. The Republicans have the White House. It's very unusual. Very unusual. This is our chance to free our economy from our workers, from the terrible tax burdens. We have workers that are so burdened with taxes. We're freeing our workers from those terrible burdens. Republicans in Congress campaigned on cutting taxes. We also campaigned on repeal and replace. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Take your time. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Many Democrats have promised tax cuts that don't mean anything because they really want major tax increases. Senator Claire McCaskill, have you ever heard of her? Is doing you a tremendous disservice. She wants your taxes to go up. She's weak on crime. She's weak on borders. She's weak on illegal immigration. And she's weak on the military. Other than that, I think she's doing a fantastic job. But now comes the moment of truth. In the coming days, the American people will learn which politicians are part of the swamp and which politicians want to drain the swamp. If you make your voices heard and call up your congressmen, and they've been terrific, and call up your senators, and they have been totally terrific. Most of them have been incredible. They really are. They're really friends of mine. They've been incredible. But it doesn't take much. That's why we need more. We need to have a larger number. But most of them have been incredible. But call your senators, call your congressmen, because we have no choice. We have to act. We have to act as a country. This isn't good for the Republican Party. This is good for the country. And that's ultimately what it's all about. So this week, hopefully, the Senate can join the House and take that strong stand for middle-class families and for business and for jobs and for competition and for bringing money back. Together, we will give the American people a big, beautiful Christmas present. And remember, I was the one, when I was here last time, I said, we're going to have Christmas again. I was the one that said, you go to the department stores and you see Happy New Year and you see red and you see snow and you see all these things. You don't see Merry Christmas anymore. With Trump as your president, we are going to be celebrating Merry Christmas again. And it's going to be done with a big, beautiful tax cut. Thank you, everybody. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.
Oh, man, I tell you what. I think part of the problem that we have in politics today when it comes to this mainstream media versus, and look, I just was watching this with you folks. I watched, and I appreciate everybody. I just, I wanted to give it a chance to play. I didn't want to cut in. We were doing our, fine out here in the chat. I want to say thank you very much, Jensen Quinn and Memes of Destruction and Matt Barkley and Ain't Jack. Oh my goodness, Ain't Jack, you're always second to none. Calls of Lich. I mean, some of these people are going to make me want to orgasm. So thank you so much, Mose. Good to see you here. I was looking today. I was looking through the mods that I have, and I was thinking about cutting the mods back. But you know what? It's hard for me. The reason everyone is a mod is because everyone here right now has the chance to time somebody out and try it. Time them out. Other people in here can untime them out, though. So if you do it for nothing, you can see how it's happened before. I've watched it happen. So that's why I do it that way. It really grants everyone in here an equal opportunity to say whatever they want. And if the folks here agree with it, well, that's the way it is. I very much wanted to get Captain Cole Pyle and at least one other person in here, but Captain Cole Pyle, I sent it out here who it was. Captain Cole Pyle, if you're free, I would like to get Welchmans in here, but I think he's busy, or I can't get a hold of him right now. I can't get a hold of him. So, and besides that, I'll do this by myself. And Captain, I know that you're probably pushing Cole around, or you're busy, you're doing something, or if not, let me know. Because for you, sir, I will send it out here. In fact, I'm going to do that. This was so good to me, and this was such a good thing. I don't know which ones of you out there. I'm just going to ask you a couple things before I send this out here. Okay, please. Be respectful. Be humble. Be assertive. Have self-confidence. But let's refrain from using any foul language, and let's refrain from ad hominem attacks on folks that are here. And let's be what we are, civil human beings that want to have a civil discussion. And I would like to say also the civil discussion will be about what we just witnessed, what we just watched. I wrote some notes down while we were talking. I was here talking to you. I was also writing some little things down. I'm going to start with this. Puerto Rico, I mean, we have something right now where Puerto Rico is, and I don't blame them, but Puerto Rico is trying to take a situation where a hurricane hit them and to use political leverage to help rebuild something that never was. audio cable. No, I'm not sure, JJ Soda Rock. If you already did, please send it to me again. And JJ Soda Rock, do you not know how to get a hold of me personally? If you have a Twitter, that's one good way. But email's a very good way. I get very little email. I ignore any of it unless I know somebody's going to email me like yourself. So, in fact, I'll just send it out here right now. It's JT710. It's here you go. It's JT710 at gmail.com. So that's a great way to get a hold of me. So I'm not even sure what you're talking about right now because I talk about a lot of stuff. So I'm going to stick right here on this though. Puerto Rico is using this as a lever. This is a way that Puerto Rico is they're trying to get funding and monies, support, aid, if you will, to rebuild stuff that never was. And listen, I would like, let's remember this before I go on. Let's remember this. FEMA was there before the hurricane hit. They were already there. Homeland Security was there before the hurricane hit. They rode the hurricane out on that island, so they were there. The ships were there. The aid ships were there instantly. They're trying to make it racist. Let's remember, 78%. Let me look it up. I can probably look it. I don't know if Google lied to me. I believe it's 78%. What? Hang on. Percent. Of Puerto Rico as white. Okay. 62% of Puerto Rico is white. So when I hear this stuff about, and I just seen Cult of Lynch, I just looked up, bro. I'm trying to do 10 things at once. Thanks for coming in. Just give me one more second. I'll cut this loose on you because this was a lot for me too. And I've got some points I want to make, but I want to hear what people think. I want to, 62%, by the way, 62% is white in Puerto Rico. And that's this coming right off of, in fact, it's reached 80%. Official census report, white proportion of the Puerto Rican population reached 80%. It's 80% right now. So when they talk about race, why would he not? Well, because they speak Spanish. Hispanic, remember this, Hispanic is not a race. It's a blanket grouping of people that speak a certain language. And I guess in a lot of cases are places that were colonized by Spain. I mean, that is in a lot of cases, because if you think of Hispaniola, why would they call them Hispanic? The island of Hispaniola was tiny. I don't know, and I'm ignorant on this. So if somebody knows, that's the only connection I can draw when I think of Hispanic, Hispaniola. And there is no race of Hispanics. And let's remember, whites are 80% of Puerto Rico. So Trump did great on the thing. If we want to give credit to him for hurricanes, I would say he did, if you consider what happened with Bush during Katrina and whatnot, where he flew over it and you got Trump there serving people and kissing black babies because he's such a racist. I would give Trump a gold star on the hurricanes. And I don't know why I wrote that down. First, I think Puerto Rico is using this cult of Lynch. They're using this. Never let a good disaster go to waste. That's what's happening in Puerto Rico right now. Do I blame them? No, man. If I was a little swillhole island and I was on the take because most of their politics are corrupt like everybody else's, and I would want to be able to fix the island and make myself even richer than I already was. So, I mean, who wouldn't? How you doing, bro? Welcome. Does your mic work?
Yep. Get the fan going, but can you hear me good?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That's good. So they're claiming, hold on, let me turn the fan off. That might help. It's not too hot today. But Puerto Rico would claim that it's racist because their concept is the only reason they're not currently a state, recognized state is because they're not, quote, American, right? And what happened, you can look at the tax history on that, is, what was it, about 30 years ago? Puerto Rico had because they're not a state, they have their own tax code, but they're also a territory, so that they don't have independent Puerto Rico only bank, right? Like other countries, right? So they were caught in this weird kind of catch 22 that the billionaires were taking advantage of um, for like 30 years now, 20 plus years for sure. To where, let me see. Yeah, I don't remember all the details. I looked into it like 5 years ago because this subject came up then again too. But basically, it was offshore, but it wasn't offshore. And Puerto Rico was promised all this tax income, but they put the quote the money, into like other countries' banks. So Puerto Rico was getting none of the tax, but they built all the infrastructure that these corporations promised they were going to use, so they didn't use, but then they didn't pay for it. So it's a big quagmire there with the whole situation. And I'd agree though that they're probably exploiting the hurricane in order to, try and get some recuperated money out of that.
And I got a real soft spot in my heart for Puerto Ricans and Cubans because I lived a good portion of my life in Central Florida. I went down there when I was really young. I lived on Daytona Beach for a while and then went to Central Florida and got my stuff together. When I was, very young, 15, I went down to Daytona Beach and just kind of disappeared for a little bit. And,
Yeah.
But anyway, I just love the culture. There's a lot to be said for it. Sounds like somebody's being shot. Like, psh, 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 psh. No, it's cool. Where are you at? Where are you? I think you told me before. You're not in. Are you in Vietnam?
No, I've never said, just Southeast Asia.
Oh, okay,
Um,
right. That's
I'll,
right. You never said.
you told me to send you a return address, and I'm having issues with that because for some reason the immigration has, or not immigration, what do they call it? The port authorities
Oh, I don't
have.
care. If you want to send me something, you don't want to send a return address. I don't care. I'll take any fan mail that
Well,
anybody
no,
wants.
now I have a problem with it.
Mine is
we have to have-
PO Box 71, Edenville, Michigan 48620. Send it to
Yeah,
the
I've got it
ogre.
written down.
Yeah, send it to the ogre. PO Box 71, Edenville, Michigan 48620. That's for anybody. Anybody wants to send me some fan mail or whatever. I don't know what to call it. I shouldn't call it. I don't know. Fan sucks, but I don't know what else to call it. If anyone wants to send me some mail, wants me to open something or send a letter or whatever it is, send it on. There it is. That's my PO box.
But yeah,
it's not.
Soap. I make high quality soap because of the coconut oils here. Right, it's pure coconut oil soap, which you'll never find because it's usually too drying. Right, it'll dry your skin out, but the way I've got it formulated, it won't do that, but it'll clean your skin off real nice.
The black African soap is real popular right now. I don't make it, but that's real popular right now. You know what I'm talking about? The black African soap. It's like black soap.
Oh yeah, I've made some of that. It don't sell as much in this area because it's black. They have a
But it
super
sucks.
but
It doesn't work very well either, by the way.
I
mean, it's like it would be like washing yourself with lava soap, except not as much suds as that. Do you know what I mean by lava? This gritty soap for
yeah.
it'd be like that, but not even as much suds. I've seen it. I've bought it. No, I make stuff. I make cocoa butter. I make hemp oil. Some of our most popular are mango butter. And hemp oil and cocoa butter. Those are our three most. And I'd say probably mango butter is by far the most popular. And lemongrass, butt naked, King's Harvest. Those are our three most popular fragrances since. They're all not when I say fragrances, they're not made with fragrance oil. They're all essential oils.
Natural. Yeah, we
don't put fragrance when there's no alcohol extract anything in there. It's all cold press extract from essential oils. Essential oils from cold press extract technique, I should say. Because it's what we want, isn't it? And I know it's all plant-based glycerins. I don't like the idea of washing myself with animal fat, especially not hog or something.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the nice things here is it's where all the coconut oil is pressed. And they have palm too, but I don't like palm in soap. Everyone says mix 20, 30% palm depending on your formula for keep it from being too drying, but I don't like it because it gets kind of the sticky feel to it. So I just use the pure coconut oil. And then I add oatmeal, which will keep that drying sensation from aggravating your skin. And some other things. But hold on.
Yeah, it's just striking me. This has nothing to do with Trump's speech.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yes, Captain Copile. But
because
I could maybe soap, washing yourself clean from a bunch of bullshit, and what I loved I did enjoy what I heard, and I think that people will forget. It's like, oh, you listen to the media right now, and it's 95% bad stories about Trump, and if you think he's done anything right in his life, you're a moron, and if you voted for him, you're stupid. And everybody that was an intellectual voted for Hillary, and everybody that was an inbred moron from the back, hills in West Virginia somewhere voted for Trump. And I'm going to tell you what, man, that's just it. Not only is it not the case, but they forget that he's busy being the president right now. When he runs against whatever sorry sucker has to run against him in like 3 years, I feel for him. Because he will be the president while he's doing it, flying around in Air Force One while he's campaigning, and he will be hitting the stump like he did today. And when you have facts now to back it up, then it's hard to just say, "Oh, it sucks." No, everything's going really well right now, just like you said it would be going. And he had to even admit a couple times in the speech that it's going better than he thought. Anyway. Yeah, I love my country. I love my president. He's doing such a wonderful job. I was really inspired by the talk he had tonight. He hit a lot of points here. I wrote a few of them down. Puerto Rico, but there was also he said he was president now. I'm not going to hit on that very much. Oh, by the way, I want to answer one question. Somebody asked me, is there a silver tax here in the United States? No, but with the new tax plan that Trump is installed, to be honest, there'll be a dividends tax. So if I was to claim every bit of hard silver that I have, it would probably cost me more than I want it to. Because and hey, that is a way to cut what they would say rich people. Because even Trump, when they say that, oh, Trump's tax plan benefits the rich, he means people that can afford to buy soup.
Yeah,
that's what they mean by that. They don't mean rich people like driving a Ferrari. They mean rich people like you actually have a mortgage on a house you don't outright own. You just hope you don't lose your job so you can keep paying for it. That's what that means. And so, yes, there's going to be a silver tax. There is, it's dividends, it's capital gains. If you have stuff that's real property like real estate, silver, steel, copper, anything that's real property, you would have to claim capital gains. And it looks like there's going to be a lot of those shelters go away with this new tax plan. It will be good for people that make hourly wage especially under $50,000-$60,000 a year. It's going to be great for them. Just they will be benefiting tremendously.
I think, I said it on the chat, but I think everyone will benefit out of this. The rich are worried about the numbers loss, right? But it's like that old Twilight Zone movie where the guy wished for the gold in the world and he got all the gold in the world, and then no one wanted it because they didn't know what gold was, right? The numbers themselves don't mean much. It's what your numbers get in comparison to what you can purchase. Because I can make you an overnight trillionaire with $20. You buy was it $20 trillion Zimbabwe dollar, right? It won't buy you a cup of coffee, but you could be a multi-trillionaire.
Oh, you can't make the right. Not in comparable money. You can't take this currency and make it, you know, trillion times more than what it's worth overnight. But you can take $1 and buy, you know, a billion whatever. That's worth nothing. You know, like you said, it's worth nothing. Yeah, well, I mean, after the horrific Treaty of Versailles, you know, you had people, you know, wallpapering their homes with Deutschmarks, whatever they were, runes or whatever they were, the money of that time.
Well, it's like Russia,
the Weimar Republic.
Weimar Republic, yeah. And then Russia, when the rubles fell, right? You literally had to take a wheelbarrow full of money to go buy a loaf of bread.
Well, and then if you think of that in the South, after the war, you would take a Confederate, the highest Confederate note. I think it was 1,000, if I remember right. We had like $1,000 now, and they'd lay that note on a piece of a loaf of bread, and they'd cut that out. That's what they'd give you for that. So when you start thinking about that, a loaf of bread would cost, you know, $8,000.
Yeah.
And that would be comparable. I mean, there would have been a time when that $8,000 would have been $8,000. And back then, $8,000 would have bought you a plantation, 25 mules, 10 horses, a couple of wagons. You know what I mean? That would have been a lot of money back then.
Yep.
Oh, well. Fort Sumter, that was a hell of a thing. Sometimes I wonder if Fort Sumter happened, just like I wonder if, you know, about the Gulf of Tonkin. We know that was bullshit. We know Pearl Harbor, you know, it happened. They bombed Pearl Harbor. We'd know that our military knew it was coming. So anyway, I guess you were probably going to get back on the Trump thing, because I was hoping for somebody to come on and tell me Trump sucked. I don't know. I don't get a lot of that out there right now. Hi, Susie Monkey. I see a lot of people, and this is not the show proper, so I can mention as many people as I want. So hi, Susie Monkey. Hi, Jensen Quinn. Hi, 1814. Good to see you. So wonderful to see you. Memes of Destruction, always wonderful. I guess I think it was, who was it, 1814, that wanted to know about the tax on silver. Was a few topics over, just going through, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Gitmo, Matt Barkley. What kind of bird don't fly? Memes of Destruction. What kind of bird don't fly? You don't know? What kind of bird don't fly? A jailbird. Ha ha ha. Welcome back, Matt Barkley. That's all I was saying. Just welcome back, Matt Barkley. Just a little jibe at you. And yes, I don't know if did I answer it? Mrs. Ogre can make biscuits very well. Very good. She also makes dumplings. So if she makes, like, you know, different kind of stews and porridges, she calls them pottages. And on top will be a layer of dumplings. They're like slimy on the outside, but really fluffy on the inside. Oh, my goodness. Yes, Mrs. Ogre, if you give her a little bit of grease and some water and flour, and salt and pepper and whatnot, I mean, you could just give her some little bit of shit right here, and she will bring you some stuff that will make you feel like you're having a banquet. And biscuits are in that repertoire. So, yeah, that's way off topic. I don't even care, but I was so pumped up by this thing. It seemed like Matt Barkley was the one that said whenever there's a speech from Donald Trump, the ogre should be in the corner. And not that I agree or disagree with that. I was stoked by what was being said tonight, because being attacked, and then being attacked for tweets that you tweet out when you mention that, oh, these people are attacking me all the time. And then when you finally get a chance to see the man that's a master orator, I don't care who you are. If you say he's not, it's just because you're biased. He blows. I mean, I hear stuff about Barack Obama. He wasn't bad himself, but I would at least put Trump as his equal, if not maybe better. He's right up there with being able to give a speech, man. That's just boom. I'm biased toward Trump because I like the extemporaneous, and Trump is very extemporaneous when he gives a speech like you heard tonight. You know, he doesn't have a written exactly what he's going to say, and you haven't seen many speeches from Barack Obama. In fact, none like that would have been where he's going to address a bunch of people, where he wasn't looking at teleprompters the whole time and saying 98, 99% of what was on there. Maybe not an or an but the rest is, you know, what was on there. And I there's something to be said for that, where you can see someone speak off the cuff. Hey, I guess, you know, I want to ask you something, unless you want to say something about that. But I do want to ask you something. What about the Pocahontas? Is he racist for that comment? Is Trump racist for that, for the Pocahontas stuff?
No, that's not even slightly racist. What she did was actually a lot more offensive, in my opinion. Because I just, you know, first of all, there's legitimate people that need help that was supposed to be going for, not some semi-richy girl that you know, wanted a cushy job somewhere. Right? I mean, it might be a bit different if she was just using it for like getting into college, but no, it was for, she used that excuse to say that she needed the job because she's a marginalized group and she's not. I mean, that's a hell of a lot more offensive in my opinion than someone making fun of her for doing that. Now, I'd agree though. Trump is one heck of a, like I said in the chat, he knows how to play the crowd. That's for sure. He knows how to get you hyped up and emotional. But yeah, my point about why I even brought up the soap, I never got to, was with his changes in the Make It in America First, that everyone complains that it's just protectivism, is the fact why it's never worked is because usually the rules are too non-specific, right? I can't make the soap like I make, and it's wonderful soap, but I can't make the soap like I make in the US, not even in Hawaii, because the very different oils and natures of the woods and different stuff in Southeast Asia compared to there. So there's certain considerations like that that always need to be taken into account whenever doing a tax code that a blanketed one will probably not address. And because I've thought about this for a while, like 7 years now. I've been thinking about it. The whole tariffs, why do tariffs tend to actually hurt economies? But then whenever you, you know, buy local products, you know, I think the dollar recyclates like 9 times within an economy before it's exited. Meaning that for every locally spent dollar, you make 9, or the local economy makes 9. But every time you restrict it to where you're only spending in a local economy, it tends to, you know, sink the economy. And I was thinking about why that is, and the reason why is because there's rare, unique products you can only get from certain places, and if you restrict those, then you can't build the product in order to sell to, you know, have the local economy going.
Well, I got to point out something, since I've been so lenient and nice, and I did enjoy it. And you said it. There's a lot of emotional pulls with Trump speaking. He knows how to work a crowd. Captain Copile, I think, was the one that made this point. He says just BS without mentioning that the Fed is there and is Trump's overlord right now. You know, the Fed don't answer to him or Congress or to the court. The three that we look at as the balance of power have no control and no say over what the Fed does. And the Fed, I even say the Fed. It's federal. It's as much federal as Federal Express. There's nothing federal about it. It's a private bank owned by a group of people that have been making a fortune, and it's not even really a fortune. They've been making money. Dude, a cult of lich, what on earth? Could you mute yourself when you're not talking?
Yeah.
I'm trying to ignore it, but it's like, shh, there's a white noise. It sounds like they're, oh my goodness gracious. And trying to just think about speaking with it. So anyway, and I'm about ready to break this down anyway, man. It ain't gonna be much longer. It's just when we think about it, as much as I enjoyed all that, it is. I mean, we have to consider that there's something that is got more pull right now than the presidency. Everybody says, "Oh, he's the most powerful man in the world." No, he's not. No, he's not even the most powerful man in the United States. And I don't personally think that the most powerful man in the world is in the United States or even American. You know, there's these three great powers: the city of London, we have Rome, the Vatican, and we have, you know, Washington D.C. and the Pentagon. And we do have these powers, whether anybody likes it or not. And I don't, you know, over those powers, Trump don't have much say. A little bit of say over the Pentagon, a little bit through Mattis, and Mattis I don't think has a lot of say on what goes on there in the Department of Defense. Even though he's the cabinet member there, but anyway, I mean, like I said, I'm not going to go on complete crazy tinfoil hat. My tinfoil hat's always on because I believe that a critical look at everything is necessary. Everything, even your own ideas. The minute one tells oneself that, oh, there it is, it's what I believe, so it must be true, it probably isn't. How you doing, man? Is this Matt Barkley? Is that Matt Barkley? Come on, Matt. Don't make me get too much dead air. Is that Matt Barkley? I see you're unmuting too. I'll give you a second. Get your stuff together, man, because I was just about ready to cancel out. Mrs. Ogre's going to walk in the door any minute. It was a good time. I wanted to try
hey
that.
Guys,
there he is.
what's
up?
going on?
Not much, man. What kind of bird can't fly?
How are we doing,
back,
guys?
brother. Welcome back, brother. Welcome back, man. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I just wanted to throw something real quick at you guys because I remember there was a CNN story from about 4 years back when they were getting ready to do the whole government shutdown thing. And they were saying President Obama, as president, has the ability to mint currency at whatever denomination he wants. They were talking about the $1 trillion coin. And here's the thing, President Obama, he typically played by the rules and whatnot. He just did his standard thing, whatever. But CNN was saying, what are the chances? Here's the thing. If the president has the power, what president would give that a try? I think we all know the answer.
Yeah, because like you said, if they do a government shutdown, like you just said, well, then technically the executive branch would take over.
Well, I had made a comment earlier, and I'm not sure if you saw it, but basically, in order to abolish the Fed or try to take away the power, the president could exercise by executive order, basically the printing of, say, a $10 trillion coin. That could potentially cause enough outrage that the people would ask Congress to act and potentially either abolish, disassemble, or at least maybe strip away some power. So, I mean, you can call it 4, 5D chess, whatever the heck you want. President Trump, I see him as a guy that does business 101. Business 101, they teach you, if you invest in something and it doesn't go well, that's called a sunk cost. And then you just pivot and move on. And that's all I see him doing. It's literally I studied business in college and he's following the rules as far as you can say. It's just, we haven't done that in so long.
Well, in the politics, there's always been a certain side of politics that would use, ad hominems and all of these, everything that we see going on right now, and not go with what you're talking about, Matt, where, we're using logic, reason, business strategy, I mean, I've read The Art of the Deal. I think it was pretty much a redoing of Sun Tzu's Art of War. Is very close. I mean, there was a lot of things similar. Just instead of supply, and it was a lot of things similar, a lot of parallels. And yeah, man, he's just that's what he's doing. He's looking at it as a business side of way. So you think that maybe if they shut it down, you think that at least he would have the power to at that point do what is legal, because I think that the fiat currency that we have going on right now is illegal. It's unconstitutional. It says in the Constitution only Congress shall have the power to coin, currency. There is no legal tender. There's nothing like that in the Constitution. That's a fiat currency. There's so many things. In fact, it's kind of communist, and when you think about it, but you can trace it back further than that. So I guess in some ways people still call it a bad argument. So you're saying that maybe that you think that's possible in this day and age? What would happen if that happened? Forget about the $10 trillion coin. I mean, what if when that went down, it was like, yeah, screw it, and because I mean they're crying now. They call him anti-environmentalist and all this stuff because EPA is pretty much, they say it was, I just read an article about it. It was like he neutered the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. And then it was, they mentioned a few other ones too, like that entity
Well, here's the thing, man. The EPA, wasn't that one of the agencies that Rick Perry forgot about, who is now in charge of the Department of Energy?
Yeah.
It's played. He is our first truly trolling. I won't say trolling president. It's our first completely meme-worthy internet troll president, because we have had previous trolls in the past.
He's our best, though. He's our troll in chief. He's our best troll ever.
Well, he speaks truth to power in a way that seems just so illogical, because he's literally the guy in the Monopoly box.
Yeah, he's Keck.
Oh, no. He literally had Trump version of Monopoly, and he is on the Monopoly box. But it seems such a paradox, because he's the closest thing we have to Montgomery Burns, and he is literally the president of the United States, and he seems pretty popular. It's just like you were saying earlier. Most of the attacks, they're ad hominem attacks, and folks are starting to wise up. They're looking at results.
Yeah, that's for sure. And Captain, I'll give it right now. My address is P.O. Box. My address, the Ogre. You write the Ogre or the Ogres or Mrs. Ogre. Box 71, Edenville, Michigan 48620. It's Eden, like the Garden of Edenville, Michigan 48620. So and that's the last time I'm gonna give it for a minute, because like I said, I welcome any mail. I'm not quite where Holly Seelger is, where you got her name, her face, her address, everything else. She's pretty brave. She's a brave young lady. Hi, Mrs. Ogre.
Hi, babe.
And that means I'm about out of here, folks. So it's good to see you, Matt. Let me do this. I give my final word on a show before this. It was great for me. This was fun watching the president do his thing. But if you could, boys, I liked what you brung, Matt, and it's not that I didn't like what you brung, Colt. You're like me, you go all over the place. If there's something you two gentlemen have on speech we heard tonight, the impact it had, bullshit that you might have smelled in it, whatever it may be, come on, give me that, and let's let Matt go second. Colt, so you start out.
Okay, first, is it still making that noise? Try to fix it, but
No, but whatever that was, it was god awful.
okay. Well, that's good, because I think it was my USB hub acting up. Anyway, the only kind of, I wouldn't call it BS, I would just call it like a thing to be considered is, like I said, with the whole protectionism type system, is you're going to wind up with companies that can't get the get the raw materials they need, because you can't get certain things inside the United States. But I'm sure that'll be a minority of companies. Otherwise, I see it as a positive, because like I said, you can easily go, United States could have easily went the way of Weimar Germany, or the way of Soviet Russia, where you need $1 million, a whole wheelbarrow of cash in order to go get a loaf of bread, or your entire life savings can only buy 1 cup of coffee. That's what happened in Germany. Yeah, that's about all I got to say on that.
You've been around long enough, Matt. I mean, it's your turn, is what I mean to say.
Yeah, no problem, man. Here's the thing. All I see is Trump. He's working to reform the system. And I believe most folks that go into politics, I believe they're good people, and a lot of them do have good intentions. But here's the thing. As we all know, as you get power, you tend to get more corrupt. Or at least you have more chances. And then you start to justify it by saying, well, you know what? I'm a better option than these other folks here. So I'll be able to do more good. But then as you gain more power, the cycle continues. And then you just end up being essentially a slave to the system. Trump is starting to reform the system from at least my personal perspective by basically just calling folks out because he had never been in politics. And he had been in the public eye for 30 years as an eccentric billionaire that says things. So he's being himself. So what he's essentially doing, he's essentially asking politicians to act not in their own best interest, which is essentially against human nature, which is the beautiful thing about it. And he's a billionaire. He doesn't care. What happens if he loses a few $1 million? So I'm willing to give the guy a shot. I mean, he is the first president I voted for that has actually won, which is surprising. Did surprise me, as I'm sure a lot of folks, but I knew there was a chance. And you know what? Let's give the guy a shot, see what happens.
So I hate to do this, man, but do you have a minute, Matt?
Yeah, no problem, brother.
Just curious, because it sounds like, I mean, you're at least not being taken in by a lot of the cacophony of other things that I mean, you know what I'm saying. People would say that what you just said, oh, he's stupid, he's ignorant, because you're a Trump supporter right now. I didn't even hear that in what you said. I actually heard you at the end say, let's give him a chance. I never heard you die hard anything. You know, if you have a minute for me, for the people listening still, why this attack? I mean, I was alive during President Reagan, and I remember Genesis, you know, doing the Superman, where are you now? You know, do everything's gone wrong somehow. But it wasn't in the lyrics so much. But if you watch the video there from that song, what was it called? So I could hear it in my head, obviously, but I can't remember the name of it. You would see they were like showing, you know, President Reagan, and there was a lot of things going on there, but it wasn't when you turned on any news channel. To make a long story short, why are we seeing this attack? And if I may, how is it that you're able to, how do you formulate your opinions that seem to be unaffected by this attack? Was that too much? I mean, I know it's a long way around. So the question is, why are we seeing such an attack on our president, Matt? And how is it that you're able to form an opinion that seems, you know, unmired by this huge, you know, all encompassing blackguarding of the president?
Because he's a human being, just like President Obama was, just like you are, just like I am. We all have our pros. We all have our cons. You just got to treat people as human beings. It's just the era we live in right now. And I would highly recommend Professor Peterson's most recent, the 13th Biblical Lecture, just because I was watching that and I think he hit the nail on the head here. Just how we have society, how we look at each other. Because that's why we do have to have certain cultures and everything, just so we can see what's going on. Like if we run across each other in the street, it's like, okay, how are we going to interact? Are you just going to pull out a gun and shoot me? I don't know. Just because we need some form of structure to at least help us know how we're going to respond. If you start talking to me in an aggressive fashion, if you just start using profanity, like profanity is a great example. You can say basically F you to somebody, and that could either be in a term of endearment that could be an attack. It all depends on the perspective that the person is just looking at it from. That's all it is. We're all human beings, and we do need to have some form of just form or idea of just what's going on with other people, because like Dr. Peterson said, there are a trillion facts. To think of them all at once, your head's going to explode. So I mean, I'm just looking at him. He's a human being. I take a look at what he said in the past, what he's done. Do I agree with everything he says? Hell no. I don't agree with any other single human being on this planet on everything, but it's just, you have to see what they're doing. And from my perspective, my background and everything, I think he's giving it a good shot. My only real concern is he is rubbing the media. And he did even say this in the campaign. I did watch this on CNN. One of the guys said, I believe his daughter went up to him and said, Dad, stop with this stupid insert expletive here. And he said, I'd love to, sweetie, but I won't win. And it seemed like he's right. And he's just doubled down because the media has doubled down. And the way it looks like, he looks like, unless the Democrats get their act together, he will get another term. But my concern is, I don't want the country to fracture apart over just a lot of perceived hate. And that is my concern. That's why I just want to have the most objective look I can try.
And Matt, some of these people pay me to be here, so I'm just going to milk you for all you're worth. Well, and it's because as much as I like Trump, all right, I mean, come on. So what I'm seeing is, tell me if you agree or disagree. It's a never-ending circle because you have two big boys fighting, right? They are beating the shit out of each other. You are fake news, you know, and Donald Trump does nothing right. He grabs him by the pussy, and you are a failing pile of garbage. Donald Trump, dumped a box of fish food in the water today like a jackass. You know what I mean? It's back and forth and back and forth. Is there a way to stop it? I guess is what I want to ask. And because in my mind, they're both justified. You see, I don't even know. I look back at it. I can't really pinpoint where. I guess I would have to say, I mean, think about Ann Coulter when she was on Real Time with Bill Maher. And the question was and I was with her. I was maybe why I wear the pin now, because whether anybody likes him or not, I supported Donald Trump since the first moment I heard he said he was really running for president this time at his age and everything. I was like, yeah. And I've been a supporter ever since. And apparently so was Ann Coulter, because on that, it was like, oh, ha, 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 ha. So again, I'm not going to even shorten it up there. I think I give you enough, Matt. What's going on with this? I mean, it's like they're trying to make two realities, but how, if you were Trump, let me just ask you this, because you seem like a very intelligent person. Let's just pretend you are Donald Trump right now. I'm James Mattis. I'm your minister of fun. But you make all the decisions. What do? Do you stop any kind of attack, anything that could be perceived? Because obviously, if you were Trump, you would be intelligent enough to know what was inflammatory. You would be doing all this stuff intentionally. There's no doubt about that. What would you do with the media?
Here's the sad thing that we run into right now. Donald Trump, from at least a strategic perspective, should continue to do exactly what Donald Trump is doing, probably moderating a little bit of the tweets, some of the stuff he sent out earlier. I mean, I get why. Well, he retweeted. That's going to be what he says, which is absolutely true. If he keeps doing what he's doing, it's just, okay, there are a lot of folks that'll hate him, but most of those folks weren't going to vote for him to begin with. So strategically, he keeps doing what he's doing. And I talk to folks that are like, you know what, I didn't even vote for the guy, but it's just, all I see is attacks. And it's like the boy that cried wolf. You can only cry wolf, or in this case, Trump, so many times before it just loses its effect.
But what about Trump? Look, I want to let you go, but what about Trump though? So my question is, remember, you're Trump. Is there a time where you just stop crying fake news and not saying it's wrong? I'm not trying to play sides. I'm just saying, would there be something? So now, as Trump, as president, you are POTUS. You have the presidential seal. You have the presidential podium. What do you do to stop this hemorrhaging? to stop this battle between two big boys that are honest to God killing each other right now?
At that point, you pretty much just get a drop party and say you're an independent or something like that. I mean, it's just, what would that do? I mean, the Democrats are just kind of scrambling, cannibalizing themselves right now. The Republicans are already heavily fractured. I mean, that would pretty much shatter the political system as we know it right now.
So you think even if he was to come, and because it couldn't happen from the media, they're too vast. But you think even if Trump was to, what if he was to make some benevolent statement next time he had a press conference? It was like, you know what, CNN, and pointed something out they did good in the last 24 hours. He could find something. And why? I mean, you might be thinking, well, why would he do that? Ogre's lost his mind. Well, it's because he points out every time they do something bad, and there's this huge fight we're talking. Is there anything that Trump could do to fix this? Or do you think that anything he would say right now would just look like weakness? I guess that's the biggest question for me.
For me, where I would go, given the current state of affairs, if I was Trump, and hear me out, I would play Santa Claus. Because CNN has dropped themselves from the Christmas party coming up. Trump should do some Santa-like thing, either donate to a cause, basically highlight some things that they've done good. Because here's the thing, it seems so easy, because Vladimir Putin essentially says, he calls him bright. So he's like, oh, Trump's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm so smart. The actual translation, Putin later clarified, was colorful, which is still also true, which technically is still a compliment. That works perfectly fine. So to bring it back, essentially, if they actually did some good coverage of him, like just a couple of good stories highlighting, making a puff piece or whatever, he will say, you know what, this was an excellent story. You should tune into Anderson Cooper tonight. And so he will just help it. It's just, they've doubled down to the point, and it's just, Dave Rubin had an interview, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, with a gentleman that did the Dilbert cartoon. And he said just the country was in such cognitive dissonance that they'd built Trump to be up such a monster pre the election that if he lost, all of a sudden, oh, okay, we have Hillary. And the folks that support him be like, well, we kind of expected to lose anyway. So they'd be able to move on. But just there's such cognitive dissonance in the country right now with so many folks that they can't believe that somehow this monster became president. So they're trying to justify it by either, well, I guess there's either a lot more racists in the country, there's a lot more folks that just hate minorities, or they're building it all into these other issues. And to be fair to them, there are a small amount of folks where that is absolutely true, and that's fine. But it's just, as soon as you start putting labels, statistics on everything, which unfortunately as human beings we need to do in some perspective, it's so confusing. There's such a quagmire, and we live in the information age. You can turn stuff on, you can watch the stream right now. There's just so much information. Not like back in the day, you got home, 6 o'clock, you put on the news, you had your hour of news, you went on with your life. We're just never disconnected anymore, and that's one of the big problems.
All right, man. Well, I milked everybody, and thanks so much, Cult of Lich, for being here and letting that just happen. I could probably go on for a little bit longer, but Mrs. Ogre she just came in, and she just got back from a 12-hour shift, a second in 2 days, and
got to take care of the missus, brother.
Therapist. Oh well, no, she just no, I want to go to. I'm just over it too. And yeah, I mean, I want to sit down. We'll probably find some on Netflix or something, man. And we're married 24 years. Got to have that good time with your loved one. You know, if you want to make it, you really do. Or I'll say this, 24 years. I can see my bed from here, a little sliver of it to the way I'm looking. And I sleep in the same bed with my wife. It's nice, man. If I wake up at night, and I do sometimes in various situations. I mean, I go places and do things. And when I wake up at night and my wife's not there, the first thing that happens, I'm in jail. That's the first thing that goes to my head, because there's, that's what would, why not? Why would she be there? So it's nice. Always sleep with the one you love. Best advice I can give anybody: if you love somebody, male, female, if you're male or female, don't matter. Love a friend, love a partner, a business partner, a romantic partner, a relative, brother or sister, doesn't matter. Take some time to let them talk to you, talk to them, try to put yourself in their situation, and just be there for them. Be there where you can get close. And I don't know. I would, if anything else needs to be said, I don't know, boys. Hold on to it. We'll get together some other time. And I just thank everybody so much for being here. This was a trial for me. And what I would like to do is I sent it to Buttercup, but I was going to have, and I'm working on getting a program that will allow me to talk while something's going on. Now, on a presidential address like that, I probably, I won't be commenting over it and probably won't have other people comment over it. I would just let the president go on and comment after like this, but probably will give some people like Matt, now that I know you actually got a voice, because Cult of Lich already knows he's welcome too, but now that I know you got a voice, Matt, I will often invite you, sir. You'll be very welcome here. Common Sense Guy to Britisher, everybody that comes on the show will like you. I can just tell by what just happened, and be able to comment on these things and to give a little bit of an opinion one way or the other, be it something from Theresa May, something from the President of the United States, whatever it may be. Tonight, my spirits were lifted, not only from Cult, but from Matt, from the President of the United States. Most of all, we got 2 million new jobs. We got all these great things. And you know what? Be good to your friends and family, folks, because when you don't think it's going to happen, they're all going to haul ass.